Hey guys, back again here with a new review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the third installation from the Dreamville album series, Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Lasting for just over an hour, as well as 35 different artists appear on this thing. There's a lot to listen to. I love J. Cole, Jid, and Boss, and several other non-Dreamville artists featured on this thing. However, with compilation tapes, I'm always a little wary going in just because a lot of the time they never end up being that consistent. Every once in a while they do, as I did enjoy the Black Panther soundtrack tape thing that came out in 2018. But for example, DJ Khaled, I think is a great example of where it doesn't work almost ever. I mean, the only recurring factors that play into his music is his yelling and themes of being number one. Opening with the track Under the Sun with J. Cole, Lute, DaBaby, and a hidden feature on the chorus with Kendrick Lamar, it sets off the album to a great start. All three verses are amazing, and DaBaby's fresh voice and hip-hop right now really brings it home for me. Kenny's distant yelling chorus on this is also a fun thing to just chant along to while you're jamming. And the production, however, probably is the weakest link on the track, but does fill the needs. It's just a decent produced, professionally produced track. Down Bad, which was one of the singles, follows the opener, but I almost considered it a part 2 of Under the Sun. While it doesn't sound the same in a lot of ways, the one big feature that really connects the two to me is the really fast rapping, whereas a lot of the times on the album it's taken much slower, but in these two tracks it's just a ton of different rappers that nobody's doubled down on, and they just keep going and going and going, and it's fun to just hear them all just let loose like this. Boss absolutely kills his verse on the track with a sampling production by Plus from Insane in the Membrane by Cypress Hill. Then the third track of the album comes on, which starts to show some of the issues I have with this on Lambo Truck. Well, maybe they recognized the first two tracks were just fantastic and put them 1-2, but perhaps they kind of saw this too. But a lot of the time, not everybody comes through on a track, which is kind of what I was mentioning before I started the review with often compilation tapes just aren't consistent. Not everybody follows through with a great verse on every single track, and a lot of the time to have a great track you need to have, if you're having 3 or 4 features on a singular track, all 3 or 4 verses have to be stellar in order for it to be that good. They at least have to match the best verse on it. Kaz, for example, does a fantastic job in the first verse on this track, but then the chorus by Childish Major on this is just practically unlistenable. I really just can't even stand it. The melody just sounds so awkward along with the layering of his vocals. It truly makes the song unlistenable. And this just keeps happening throughout a lot of the album. Maybe not as bad as the chorus on this track, but where something just kind of drags it down. And often when it's the chorus like that, it can drag it down a bit more as you hear it so many more times throughout a song. It occasionally does have a flare of artistic creativity throughout everybody on a track, like on the interlude Wells Fargo. With a step away from the usual production style that's used on a majority of the album, it's hilarious how just awkward or weird the song fits together, but yet how good it sounds. And God, do the verses on this song go hard as well. Rembrandt, Run It Back with J. Cole, Jid, and Vince Staples was the track. Just looking at the track list, I was extremely excited for, with all 3 of them being probably my 3 favorite rappers on the entire list. But honestly, I was a lot let down by this track, as Jid and J. Cole do a decent job, but not nearly as the level as I'm used to them doing, especially on the same song, like Off D's. And then the Switch It Up, though, isn't a little nice of a change up. Again, kind of a unique production compared to the rest of the album, with the synthetic strings that is, I don't really think, used practically anywhere else on the thing. And then comes in Vince Staples, who does deliver a pretty above average verse. One of the only solo tracks on the album, and the big single from it as well, Middle Child by just J. Cole, does a decent job of fitting the aesthetic of ROTD3, with the auto-tune and trap production that J. Cole usually doesn't fall into, does fit a bit better on here than it maybe would on a lot of his other projects. Finally, the closer, Sacrifices with Earth Gang, J. Cole, Smino, and Saba also do a fantastic job, as it's a bit more of a slower R&B type production, but instead of the other ones, which other R&B tracks that I didn't find that interesting on the album, this one does pull through a bit more. And with it being like 6.5 minutes, every single verse on here is just great. It's not really hard hitting or fast or a big punch, but it's a nice relaxing rap track to really just kind of jam to. However, another big issue that I had with a lot of the album is that a lot of it's just forgettable. Even like a few listens in through the album, I can't remember a lot of the songs. I couldn't recall back on them for the life of me. The R&B tracks in particular didn't really do anything in the terms of creative production on them. So they just kind of even melded together even more. But I do gotta admit, I do appreciate the Smoke Perp feature on the track Costa Rica, considering he was beefing with J. Cole like a year and a half ago or something, him and Lil Pump, and it's kind of neat to just all of a sudden see him on here now too. Overflowed with artists and tracks, the track list is just so fluffed by so many hard-hitting big names on here that after one listen, it kind of hurts the brand of the album with so many big names. There's just so many. It's not listenable that well when not a lot of the songs live up to the standards that they should. Especially on here when this is pretty common, I feel like too, where the execution of one artist is just so much better than their contemporaries on a song that it makes all the surrounding noise around this one feature in a track just seem dull. But that being said, there are several standout tracks, and don't get me wrong, there was several tracks that I did enjoy, like the Wells Fargo interlude or the two opening tracks. And the good tracks on here are really good too. I do enjoy them to listen to them quite often, just on their own. Maybe not the entire album all at once that much anymore, but the few tracks I did like a lot, I have returned to quite a bit. And so in the end, I'm gonna give this album a 5. So let me know what you guys thought of the album here, maybe what I should review next, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya. Bye.